Hello everyone, and today we're going to be going over a very went over topic, but I honestly personally think a lot of people knew what they were doing in their workflow, but they didn't know how to explain it. So, yes, this video is on sidechaining. Like, it's like the millionth video on sidechaining, I'd imagine. But more in depth and also simplified for beginners to understand. Because it took me 2 years to learn how to sidechain, sadly, because of the lack of knowledge in tutorials or missing pieces of key knowledge. So, in this video, we're going to be going over 5 key things: organization, docking tracks, delimiter, control tracks, which I'll get into later, and ducking tracks, or the control track. Control tracks can also be referred to as trigger tracks. So, what you're going to do in cases like this one right here, where this instrument in yellow is completely overpowering the song. And in fact, it actually is so strong that it overpowers one instrument in particular, which is the other one right next to it that I just disabled the routing. I guess that was not the instrument. I think it might have been the bass. So yeah, it's too loud, but the other instrument plays too. So I want it so that when this instrument plays, it cuts down on this one. And I will show you how to do that. So in the next segment of this video, I'm going to be showing you how to organize and dock your tracks. Okay, so when it comes to docking, I originally had 31 on the left. You could also dock tracks to the right if they're like effect tracks or other stuff that I wouldn't really think of at the moment. Right would dock it right next to the effect rack, but I'm really just gonna dock it to the left because it's just where all my controls are. So what you're gonna want to do is get your 2 tracks that are basically contradicting each other or canceling each other out and put them in their appropriate slots. With sidechaining tracks in FL Studio in particular, you have sidechain to track and sidechain to track only. But they don't really specify it unless you read the manual or something or really dig deep. But one's a trigger and the other one's a variable that's being controlled. So, for instance, if I wanted this sound, which is exactly what we're trying to do, to go down, I would need a trigger to cause it to go down every time it comes in. So the perfect trigger would be the instrument I could barely hear, which is the one right next to it, number 2. But in order to do that, we click on our sidechain track, let's name it side, and then we give it a limiter. So this is the default composition. We won't be messing with it, any of this, not composition. This is the default layout. What we're going to be using is the composition tab, but we'll get into that in a bit. So let me just push this over here. We'll start with 2. I am going to right click this arrow at the bottom of the track, and I'm going to click sidechain to this track. My bad, I thought the recording stopped. Okay, so when you click sidechain to track, you don't need to adjust this volume knob down here. This is only for the track that's audio ducking. For some reason, if you were to click this sidechain to track only, which is what we're supposed to do because this is the one that's ducking. Audio ducking is basically reducing the audio every time a specific sound comes in. Well, I don't know if that's the exact definition, but it's just has to do with volume reduction. You could use tools to audio duck too without having the sounds as triggers. You could just literally duck the audio manually. So now that I have it on here, that you're not going to hear it anymore because this volume knob is not turned up, and I sidechained it to this track only. So to demonstrate that, this red instrument is what was playing earlier. Okay, so now what we're going to do is go back to track 31. Click the limiter. Oh, it was already selected. I forgot to drag it over here on top. And then in the composition tab, not limit tab, composition, right click on sidechain and click your ducking track, your controlled track. In this case, the loud instrument. So I'm gonna click insert 3, move from insert 3. Well, actually don't move from insert 3. Just play it and mess around with the threshold. The knee, I would recommend turning the knee and the ratio all the way to the right, and then reducing the threshold to the left until you find a pleasant medium of sounds. Wanted to show you the difference between it being on and it being off. So this knee and this ratio basically cuts the top off, and then the threshold makes it so that like it can only go a little bit past that blue line. If you lower it, it compares it to the threshold of the other track that's being played as well, which is this blue line right here. But if it's too loud, it'll cut it down. And sometimes even if it's interfering, it'll just cut it down. So these are still piercing, but I don't quite get what these mean because they're under the line, so I guess they may just be interfering with some frequencies, but those frequencies aren't really loud. They're just cutting out the other sound, most likely. I hope the limiter knows what it's doing, or in my case, it might just be me not knowing what I'm doing. But that pretty much sums up that part.
Please don't leave me on my own. Back to back, some close above. Drive away alone. I saw your face right in front of me. A warm smile that I couldn't keep. Or was it all a dream? I saw that smile that I can get. But everyone can we come again. Close my eyes, it's not a dream. Close my eyes, it's not a dream. Close my eyes, it's not a dream. Close my eyes, it's not a dream.
So, I hope that explains sidechaining a little more in depth because I couldn't find a video that explained it to me in terms that I could understand. People would just speed run the whole tutorial and just literally leave you hanging. But I believe this is the end. You guys have a good one. Peace. Thanks for watching and see you guys around.